As soon as he walked in the Rockingham gate, he grabs him and handcuffs him.
Come back, everybody.
Actually, the residents
Okay, back to
were
summer.
where Mr. Simpson was. He asked me to take the handcuffs. I explained the reason I was there, what was happening.
And so we were standing in the front yard on the grass, and Van Ander asked me to go out there and do it. And I walked out there, stood next to it. OJ looked at me and says, "What's all the police here for?" And I said, "Well, there's a blood trail leading from there to here." And he goes, "A blood trail?" I said, "Yeah, a blood trail." And he just went quiet, started sweating and hyperventilating, really heavy breathing, and started going, "Oh man, oh man, oh man," over and over again.
I had asked him voluntarily to accompany me to Parker Center for an interview. He agreed to that.
Okay, this is the final warning. Everyone step back, please.
Bill Van Adder now decides that he's taking him downtown to Parker Center. An interrogation.
We have an obligation to sit down and talk to this individual and ask him a whole lot of questions.
The date is June 13, 1994, and the time is 13:35 hours. And we're here with O.J. Simpson. All right, what we're going to do is we're investigating, obviously, the death of your ex-wife. And another one, over your relationship with her. We try to get off the door with work.
He's doing this jumping around, he's not giving us correct answers.
What are you thinking?
Now we've got his fingers bleeding. So let's the male nurse we have in the jail take a look at his finger. Also photograph him.
It appeared that he had an injured knuckle on the middle finger of his left hand. Going back to the original crime scene of Bundy, it would appear that he had the injury that would have caused those blood drops on the left side of the bloody footprints.
Ask him about his main finger. We get three different responses.
In a Chicago hotel room, they later found a towel smeared with blood.
We later cut it back in Chicago. We broke the glass. And then in the end, it's, I really don't know how he did it. We go through this interview, only 33 days, I got a dozen inconsistent statements. When someone tells you something, gives you an inconsistent statement, and they do it over and over and over and over, is there a possibility that they're lying to you? I said, would you take a polygraph? I'll think about it. I might take a polygraph.
We got some blood on and in the car. We got some blood at your house. And so your bottom.
What we like to do that, we've got the person cut to be clear. And we'll put it on.
He says, yeah, I'll give you blood. Once they get the blood, I don't have to ask him anything. Blood's gonna do the talking. District attorney's not gonna go with any case, let alone a high-profile case, without knowing they've got solid evidence. But it could take some time to get the blood back.
The bottom line at this point, says a police spokesman, is this: no one has been arrested in
case, no one has been charged. Once again, O.J. Simpson is not a suspect in this case. He was released after questioning.
It was clear by the end of the day that O.J. was related to this case more than just being the ex-husband.
Once again, the investigation continues here at O.J. Simpson's home. It looks like it's going to go well into the night. Home and open up on Mikey Redwood.
At the end of the day, aren't there phone calls? You're relieved. That's it. I'm tired. I haven't slept for a day and a half. I can't imagine the absolute shit show that's going to start tomorrow. But it's not my case any longer. Time to move on.
It was interesting that 2 days after the murder, O.J. Simpson makes the announcement that he's switched attorneys. He's hired Robert Shapiro.
O.J. Simpson now has a new attorney. Celebrity attorney Robert Shapiro.
Robert Shapiro was a high-end Hollywood and celebrity attorney who was well known for getting deals for his clients. He was somebody you went to if you needed a negotiated settlement.
At the time that this murder took place, O.J. was at home awaiting to get into a limousine to take him to the airport.
Well-known, respected, articulate, presented well to the media, which, let's be clear, that was important as well.
I knew Bob Shapiro before he represented O.J. Simpson. He was a really popular attorney. He tended to represent defendants who didn't look like most of the defendants in the system. He represented people with money.
Thank you very much.
O.J. Simpson remains inside his home here in this exclusive area and section of Brentwood in West Los Angeles. He is surrounded by family.
When I called the house, I called repeatedly. I just kept, hopefully somebody would answer. Lo and behold, O.J. answers the phone. I said, I'm getting ready to head home. I should have stopped by. He was coming by. I walked in the door. He had 3 TVs and he's watching every news thing to see what they were saying about it.
When you first saw it, what do you remember? What did you think? What do you think?
The first thing I saw, I looked at his finger. You know, bandage.
What happened?
He said, I was out in the car trying to get my cell phone out of it. I dropped it in there and I cut it in the seat. I said, oh, okay. All right. No big deal. Okay. So somebody else comes over. Hey, O.J., how you doing, man? What's going on? How you doing? He goes, oh, man, hanging in there. And that person goes, O.J., what happened to your finger? He goes, I cut my finger on a glass in Chicago. So I'm looking at him like, so you got you're in a car trying to get a cell phone. I got ready to leave. O.J. follows me out. Iran, how long does it take DNA to come back? And I'm thinking to myself, how do you want to know about DNA? He said that they asked me to take a lie detector test, and I said, why would you not want to take a lie detector test? And he said, I've had dreams of killing her. And I was like, you had dreams of killing her? Here she's dead? And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, wow. You know, Nicole came to me in 1989. And she said, I got to tell you about your friend.
Does it stink?
What do you mean? What's going on?
Oh, okay.
She said, O.J. hit me, you know, now. And I was like, yeah, right. She goes, no, O.J. hit me.
Hey, you have no bikers, okay? Hey, what's up, everybody? Someone said hi.
I said, come on, Nicole, she brings me all these pictures. And I went, wow. He did all this? The following day, I talked to O.J. And I said, O.J., I can't believe this, man. I said, did you slap her? Did you hit her? Oh, no, man, you know, it was just a thing. She was the aggressor, and I was just trying to hold her back. And at that time, I didn't know if O.J. was lying to me, but now I knew. I couldn't get out of there fast. I left O.J.'s house, and I got in my car.
Very upset and tired. We'll get the rest.
And I called my wife first. I was crying. Yep. I was crying because I knew he did it.
best way I can put that. When I saw OJ there, it was just a complete tense situation. OJ seemed like he was in a daze. He walked really slow, and I didn't see him even talking to people.
Going to the funeral, I had friends of mine that were cops, and I got security for OJ. It was really strange, and I really could not go near him at that time.
It just seemed like something wasn't right. The kids came up to me throughout the entire funeral. I had mentioned mommy's in heaven, and we had these balloons. And I said, the kids, take these balloons and send them up to your mommy to heaven. And they had these helium balloons, and they put the balloons up, and they were rigging to them. We're crying. I don't think the immediacy of knowing that they'll never see their mom again, it didn't really hit them.
Some 20 miles away in Agoura Hills, California, relatives of Ronald Goldman gathered for his funeral.
I remember being in the mortuary, and the casket was down a long path, and we just walked up to it, and there he was. And my brother had his neck severed, and so they had to hide certain parts so that we couldn't see it. I remember leaning over him, and I was crying, and I saw tears on him and thought that it was him crying, and then I realized that it was my tears. It was all very super fucked up. We had no idea how big this was, how far-reaching it was. We were inside having our service, and then came out, and there were thousands of people that had come. And it was shocking because I had no idea. There were helicopters above, media was perched. I just was very overwhelmed by that because I didn't understand what was happening.
If what few little things we've heard in any way are true about Ron putting up quite a fight, maybe it helped. Wouldn't surprise me either.
Unlike so many other murder victims, our stuff happened very quickly. It's very public, so there wasn't a lot of question about how the investigation was going. So many other families don't get information at all, and they have to beg and plead for it. Ours, we couldn't stop getting it.
While they have not formally identified O.J. Simpson as a suspect, it appears at this point they are not looking elsewhere.
No, we haven't. Can you tell us anything at all?
The real damning evidence in this case, it's in the forensics and it's in the blood.
Police towed this white Ford Bronco from O.J. Simpson's home.
There was blood in the Bronco. Somebody put blood on the door handle. We have bloody shoe prints at the scene. We have drops of blood behind the Bronco. We have a bloody glove that matches the one at Bundy. I mean, you really don't have to be a very good detective to put this together.
As soon as detectives can match the blood in the car with blood at the crime scene, an arrest warrant will be issued.
Well, the blood started to come back, and O.J. Simpson has his blood at the crime scene. The blood that was tailing to the left of the footwear impressions is his blood. As far as the Bronco goes, and the blood in the Bronco, there's only 3 types of blood from 3 people, both victims, and O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson has his blood at Rockingham tailing from the rear of the Bronco up the driveway and into the house. O.J. Simpson has his blood also on the right-handed glove that's found at Rockingham, along with the blood of both victims. Because at that time we went in and sought the warrant. There's hundreds of pieces of evidence. All of these little circumstantial things are beginning to add up. So it's determined that an arrest will be made the next morning at 8 o'clock.
Nobody could anticipate what would happen next, because it's really unprecedented.
Los Angeles County District Attorney has just filed murder charges against Orenthal James O.J. Simpson.
There is nothing like this in memory. Nothing.
Okay, it's a white car.
Do you recall at any time you were at the wake or funeral just spontaneously saying, I loved her too much?
Not too much, no, but I loved her.
Okay.
I did good. I loved her.
O.J. Simpson was my childhood idol, became a client, became a friend. I represented O.J. for roughly 22 years. He said, my image, what people see of me, is the most important thing I have.
As little as $69 a week.
When you go to a party, there's people that walk in, and I hate the saying, they light up a room. But some people walk in, and it doesn't matter if they're good looking, attractive, not attractive. They walk into a room and you notice them, and your eyes will follow them. O.J. had that ability. He had it.
Hey, you, me and my wife said, we'll never let her in our house.
Do you know why the blood on the panel of the Bronco matched your blood?
No. An agent's job is to create an illusion. So you have a hero.
Do you know why the blood in the Bronco matched Nicole's blood?
No. I'm sure we're gonna have a real fine time together, right?
On screen, he came across as a likable, happy person.
But there is some trouble. I'll just bust a few skull.
It's not reality.
Do you know why the blood found on the Rockingham driveway matched your blood?
No. Was O.J. a really good person who was capable of doing bad things?
And do you know why the blood on the socks in your bedroom matched Nicole's blood?
No. Or was O.J. just a really bad person that occasionally did good things?
Do you know why the blood at Bundy matched your blood?
No. I still don't know. But who was he? Which person did I know?
Friday, June 17th, once the solid evidence became certain, we got the warrant early in the morning, the attorneys were contacted.
The Los Angeles County District Attorney has just filed murder charges against Orenthal James O.J. Simpson. He's expected to surrender to Los Angeles police for booking an arraignment shortly.
O.J. was supposed to turn himself in by 11 a.m. Phil and I wanted to go out and pick him up, but the brass wanted a perp walk, as they call it. That's O.J. Simpson, which was a big deal. We want to see the perpetrator here of this big crime paraded in front of our cameras, preferably with the handcuffs on and a scowl on his face, because it looks good for the 11 o'clock news. It's nonsense and it shouldn't have happened.
We had heard a rumor the night before, but it was at 8:30 in the morning that day. We found out that the LAPD was going to arrest O.J. Simpson.
Simpson's going to surrender. There's an arrest warrant.
I remember thinking, why is he allowed to turn himself in? Like, don't they go to the house and arrest him? It's a courtesy, I guess, they make to more high-profile people. I didn't know that.
This idea of allowing the guy to surrender in a couple of hours, to me, is insanity. You say, have lunch, you know, IT, whatever. That's no way to treat a person you believe to be a double murderer who almost cut a woman's head off. I was on my way to Rockingham and figured I'd see O.J. once I got there.
And on my way, I found out that he had left Rockingham and he went to Bobby's place on the other side of the hill. And when I say Bobby, I mean Robert Kardashian, which of course people now will know the Kardashian girls. That's his daughters.
Robert Shapiro, the litigator, he talked to the LAPD. You don't have to come hook him up. We'll bring him to the station. The question was, where is he going to turn himself in? My editor said, go down to Parker Center. So we went down there, and that was sort of a madhouse.
I think there is 3 times the media that there was 30 or 45 minutes ago.
We were told OJ was going to turn himself in at 10, then at 11.
We have a car coming in.
Yeah, we see that.
Blue sedan. I see someone in the back. I can't, no, just turning around. False alarm.
I'm in the lobby of Parker Center. There are cameras set up. We're into programming. It's wall-to-wall coverage. And we hear that there's something happening at the Bundy address. And I see on a monitor, there's a helicopter shot of a couple of white vans and a crowd of people. I'm thinking, was OJ there? And I see a captain from the media department, and I say, listen, so is OJ there? And he says, no, he's not there. Well, what's the crowd doing there? And he says, well, the crowd's there because the helicopter's above. Your helicopter's above it.
Yeah, because there's the scene. If there's nothing going on here, why not just...
We've asked you to leave. You won't leave.
OJ Simpson was going to turn himself in. That's what was going to happen. There's going to be a lot of attention paid to his arrival and his processing, but this was going to happen. We had no doubt.
And he never showed up. So I called Shapiro. He was at Bob Kardashian's house in Lucido. I said, what's going on? He said, well, you know how he is. He's upset, and I don't know what we're going to do, and blah, blah, this, blah, the other. And so I said, well, we can come out and pick him up. Meanwhile, I dispatched 2 police cars to the house. Unbeknownst to us, while we're on the phone talking, OJ took off.
Called the house, he wasn't there. Called Bobby's, he was gone. I thought, okay, they wouldn't lie to me. They'd tell me where. Nobody knew where he was.
There's going to be a news conference at maybe 10, news conference maybe at 11 o'clock. And then it kept being pushed back.
Ready to go in 2 minutes. 2-minute warning. I was in the field, and the TV was up, but all of a sudden, Commander Gascon and Parker Center at the podium comes up.
He's on the stage.
I know David Gascon. He looked pissed.
Mr. Simpson, in agreement with his attorney, was scheduled to surrender this morning to the Los Angeles Police Department. Initially, that was 11 o'clock. It then became 11:45. Mr. Simpson does not appear.
It's like he doesn't know what to do. Something isn't going according to plan.
The Los Angeles Police Department right now is actively searching for Mr. Simpson.
There were gasps in the room. That was the ultimate holy cow moment.
Mr. Simpson is a wanted murder suspect, 2 counts of murder, a terrible crime. We need to find him, we need to apprehend him, we need to bring him to justice, and we need to make sure that we find him as quickly as possible.
It was the one thing we weren't expecting. All of a sudden we think, okay, that is an admission of guilt if you flee.
We're not going to make any comments relative to the investigative efforts itself. You asked a question, would you like for me to answer?
If this was our decision, he'd be in jail right now, and none of this nonsense would have happened. But the brass had other ideas, and they paid for it in embarrassment.
The whole thing had broken down.
There is no preferential treatment. There has not been any preferential treatment. He is a wanted murder suspect, and we will go find him.
The news conference ends. All of a sudden, O.J. Simpson was a fugitive from justice. He could be anywhere.
All Gascon had to do was say it's Simpson and he's gone, and it's everywhere.
Unbelievably, the most watched, most wondered about man in America has gone missing. O.J. Simpson, one of our most public figures even before this week's incredible events, is now one of our most wanted ever. There is nothing like this in memory. Nothing.
O.J. Simpson is a fugitive of the law. It was just such a powerful statement.
When throughout the nation, as the superstar.
Howard Cosell used to say the juice is loose, but believe me, he never meant anything like this.
I started making the normal contacts with the feds, immigration, border security.
There is some concern that possibly with his connections and with his resources financially, that he might charter an aircraft and possibly try to flee the area.
How many times have you wanted to pack it all in and take off?
They thought he was headed to Mexico.
When you're looking for somebody, we'll put out a low alert. Be on the lookout for.
Text all units to stations for Station 18 for LAPD. Attempt to locate 197 suspect. First name spelling Oscar Romeo Echo November Tango Hotel Alpha Lima. Villa James. Male black, 6'2", 210 pounds, 46 years old.
This goes out worldwide, basically.
O.J. Simpson.
Where's he gonna hide? How do you hide this guy? Where's he gonna go? What's he gonna do?
I pray for him, and I hope that he turns himself in. We all would like to hear his side of the story.
I just hope he can run as fast now as he used to be able to.
We had fully anticipated that Mr. Simpson would have been arraigned this afternoon. As of this time, approximately 3 p.m., no one knows where he is.
Gil Garcetti said he needed to turn himself in immediately, almost making a plea.
The information that we have is that Al Cowlings, who was a former football teammate of his, was the last person seen with O.J. Simpson.
AC is like a brother to OJ. What OJ did, AC did. He was very loyal to his friends. He was very close to Nicole and the whole family. I think he was hurt. I really do. By all of this. I don't think he saw it coming.
If you in any way are assisting Mr. Simpson in avoiding justice, Mr. Simpson is a fugitive of justice right
A Whipple Mustang.